Hey there, my name's Diane Prince, and I built a company that I sold for $28 million. And I want you to know that you can do it too. You can do what you want to build, however you want to build your business. You can do it. And one of the most rewarding parts about what I do now in my business is hearing people tell me that they never thought they could do it until they read my content, they saw my videos. So I want to let you know I did that, and it's definitely possible for people who want to do it. So in this video, we're going to talk about co-founders and what you need to know before you decide to bring in a partner for your business. Now, there can be a bit of a co-founder trap, okay? Now, if you have the absolute right person, then it's sort of like a marriage, right? Like a bad marriage is worse than no marriage, in my opinion. I'd rather be single than have a bad marriage. And it's the same thing with business partners or co-founders. Some people, now, if you have the right partners, it can be stellar. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to having a partner. However, a lot of people pay me a lot of money to help them divorce. And I mean, figuratively divorce. I actually literally divorced my co-founder at one point. That wasn't pretty. We were married and co-founders. But anyway, I'm totally digressing. I walk a lot of people through actually splitting from their business partners, and it can be really, really gnarly. So we're going to talk about, do you need a co-founder? What is the co-founder trap? And what staffing agency owners and recruiting agency owners and really anyone starting a business need to know. So let's dive in. So you might be here because you're just starting out, or maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, or maybe someone's approached you and asked you to partner. So what you want to do, you want to avoid emotional decisions, and you want to take this decision. This is a very important decision. Now, I had in my clothing business, I had a really pretty bad co-founder relationship or situation. And I started the business as a solo founder. Then I was convinced that I needed to bring in a co-founder. And it was really a disaster because not only was it not the right person, but the person I brought in wasn't really tied into the business. Now, in previous companies, in my staffing businesses, I had fantastic co-founders that worked really well until they didn't. Said one of them or a couple of them. But what we did, there's a lot of different ways to approach or to bring on really highly qualified people and people who are going to be beneficial to your business without giving them half of your business. And by the way, unless you're married to your co-founder where 50-50, it's going to be 50-50 anyway if you get divorced, do not ever go into a 50-50 business relationship. It is a nightmare if you want to split or when you're going to make decisions. And if you do, if you ignore that advice, and if you do, make sure that you have a third party person who will be available and who you agree that will go to so-and-so when we disagree, and then we'll follow their opinion. Otherwise, it can be impossible to get through gridlocks. So sometimes when people think they need a co-founder, they're looking at different skills that the other person has. And you can look at it and yeah, it can be really fun to build a business with somebody. And there are great partnerships. I have a really good friend who has a law firm, and she started it with a partner. They have a great partnership. They're doing really, really well. And I also have worked with people who have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars buying out their co-founder, and it's gnarly. So it takes a lot of time, and it can be really expensive. Okay. So when you're thinking about bringing on a co-founder, think about what you actually want. What do you really need? Is it help with something that you need to do in the business? Is it helping with operations, sales, automation, recruiting? Is it some function? Okay. Because there are a lot of ways that you can get those things done without giving away a giant part of your business. And towards the end of this video, or during this video, I'm going to share with you when we brought in key executives, how we structured their equity. And I think you'll find it really interesting because how we did it. So sometimes you might be looking, people, founders might be looking for co-founders for something strategic, like doing something in the business. Sometimes they're looking for not just a strategic partner, but support, like emotional support, which honestly, when you have a good co-founder, it is key. Like that is really, really helpful. But in the absence of that, because you can't just invent that person if that person doesn't exist. So you can decide, like, I want a co-founder, but I'm not going to bring someone on until I find the right person. I highly recommend that. I'm also going to tell you how we vetted our C-suite people, because I don't hear many people doing what we did. So if it is support that you need, consider hiring a coach, consider even a therapist, okay, and or a business coach. Get into some kind of a group forum with other founders. But I suggest getting a one-on-one person. For me, I have a business coach and a therapist, and that's really helpful because you want to have that go-to person to talk through. And if you don't have a co-founder or a business partner and you're talking to your employees all the time and using them as a sounding board, that can be detrimental, because your employees generally want to make you happy. And you also, what I've learned is, sometimes you're talking through ideas. You think you're just talking through ideas, and then your people are actually executing on them when it wasn't really, because they want to please you. Where I'll be like, oh, and I wasn't even planning on doing that. Okay, so you want to be really careful not to offload all of your thoughts to your team, not because you don't want to be transparent, but because it can be confusing and not fair to them. And if you're looking for, if you're looking for the former, so something with help with something specific like ops or sales, look at how you can get that done. Okay, a lot of things you can get done through freelancers, through offshore support. So look at your options. So first, identify what are the reasons why I'm looking for a co-founder. And now, as promised, I'm going to tell you what we did. So when in my first business, when I was pregnant and on bed rest, but first I was having preterm labor for like, gosh, I don't even know how many weeks before I even realized what it was. I drove myself to the hospital. I was working like 12-hour days and drove myself an hour to the hospital to be put on 10 weeks of bed rest. So that was when we decided, okay, we should it's time to bring on someone else on the executive team. And from then on, any key players that we brought in, they had to invest money in the business. Okay. We were doing at that point, we were doing about $20 million. They had to actually put in cash to get a percentage of the business. And that worked really well because we also found people who had a really compelling reason to be part of our business. For example, the first key executive we brought in, his goals were, one, he wanted to have a title that would allow him to join YPO, because our business had the qualifications. If you don't know what YPO is, it's Young Presidents Organization. It's a prestigious group. It's really, really solid. So anyway, that was one reason. But the other reason was he wanted to become the CEO of a publicly traded staffing agency. So we wanted to retire. Like, we wanted to grow the business and sell it and exit and leave. And he wanted to grow the business and stay with it and be the CEO. So he had a really compelling reason to stick around. Now we had three other employees who, at least three other employees who bought in, and they had very minority percentages, so that everybody had skin in the game, and it worked out really well. I know a lot of people today just give away equity because they don't want to pay salaries. One, you need to know that you need to understand the labor laws, because even with a co-founder, you still need to pay them at least minimum wage in most cases. So I'm not a lawyer. Make sure you check that out before you start doing anything funky like that too, because you might be thinking that you're bringing on a co-founder so that you don't have to pay them, but generally you do have to pay them. So just make sure that you're not doing anything shady, because if things don't work out, like they often don't work out, then that person can come right around and file at the State Board of Employment, and you're usually going to lose. So the benefits of having a good co-founder: if you've got a unicorn, do it. Okay. If they are long-term aligned, do it. Okay. Don't just do it to fill in a short-term gap or because you're panicked. The negatives of a bad co-founder decision: financial. This can cost you a lot of money. Emotional. co-founder breakups. I have one client who has been traumatized. She had to buy out her, and if you're listening to this and you think, oh, I wonder if she's talking about me, there are several. So, but one in particular who it was so devastating for her. She can't even say her previous partner's name, and it was just a really really tough thing that took years to unwind. So it's financially stressful, it's emotionally stressful, and operationally, it can kill momentum. It can really be hard on the business when co-founders are arguing and splitting up. It's like a divorce. Okay, so audit your needs. Be clear with yourself, be really honest with yourself and why you're actually looking. If it's a person you're considering becoming a partner or a co-founder, why? And also, is it something that you can build a support structure, or you can get help? Like if you want to talk about, guidance, first of all, if you want to share, you can do a quick coaching call that'll can save you a lot of money and heartbreak. If you want to just talk through with me, you can go on my website and book a call with me. Or you can also, if it's things that you just need to get done, just hire a virtual assistant. Okay. And we have a team is a highly skilled virtual assistant team that will have the links in here too. So you can, if you need any help with this stuff, then just let me know. Okay. So in summary, you don't need to give away part of your business to get help, even though it might seem like the most affordable solution right now today. It is not. Okay. It is generally not in the long run. It is very, very expensive. Okay. If you want to book a call and meet your A team, which is the virtual assistant agency that I run, please do. And we'll tell you how we can help to fill in the gaps. I also, when you work with A team, you also get strategic guidance from me. I'm an exited founder who sold a business for $28 million. And I want to help other people to build the businesses of their dreams. Okay. So ask yourself this. Are you thinking about a partnership? Are you rushing in? And also think about this. I'm going to leave you with this question. What would your business look like with the right help? If you could get the right help without giving up control or without giving up equity, you're never going to give up control, but without giving up equity, what would that look like if you had the right help? I'm Diane Prince. Click on the links and to figure out how we can support you, and happy business growing.